the next set of films deal with, I believe, our trip to New York. There's the station wagon, the Rambler, with Philip to the left and Ethan Paul to the right. We have all that stuff on top of the vehicle. My word, we're all set to go.
It's a lot of stuff.
And how. And
Okay, you did two. You have to do
oh,
this.
one time.
Okay. This one says backyard of 169 Henry Street, Ethan Paul and Stephen.
Yeah, there's Stephen, my sister's boy, and Ethan Paul. Boy, he certainly doesn't look very happy. I think the sun was probably in his eyes. This is Hempstead, New York. This is my brother George and his Volkswagen. He was in the process of washing his car,
Sounds like he really liked it.
right? And this is 1964, of course.
This one's hard
Oh,
to see. but
this is
Dad,
the
Carolyn
the
family,
zoo,
Central Park.
the zoo in
Central
Central Park in New York City. My father is holding, I presume, Ethan Paul. Gail is holding Philip, and Carolyn Codd, a very good friend of Gail. So there's my father with his hat, always in a suit.
That's me.
That's
The zoo.
that's Philip sitting. I believe that's my father there. You can see his legs with a cigarette.
So
and,
did he smoke all the way?
Well, he smoked quite a bit at that time. He gave it up a few years later. There's my father there with Carolyn. That's a nice picture of my father, 1964.
There, it's all set now.
Boy, the pigeons really fascinated Carolyn Codd and my father. And this is Philip over here, I presume, with a lollipop in his mouth. I think
Doesn't
so.
look like me. I wonder if that's Stevie.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe that's him.
There's Gail there, and I don't know who that little guy is in that. That must be Ethan Paul with his Navy costume on, and Philip is on the left. My father is going to feed the pigeons. In the back of 169 Henry Street,
There's Stevie.
Stevie, Ethan Paul, and Philip. And I think Philip has some, he looks like a fez on his hat, on his head.
Bucket.
A bucket, yeah, of course. We are now at the World's Fair in New York City. This has to be 1964. And there, in the middle there was the Vatican Pavilion. I remember seeing there the Pietà, you know, the body, Michelangelo statue of Christ, and holding Mary, holding the Mother Mary, holding his dead son. He looks older than the mother. We are at the beach, and I don't know which one it is.
It says Family Beach, Long Island.
Yeah, this could be either Rockaway Beach or Jones Beach. And it's so sunny. Gail has a rose-colored jacket on. My father is there reading a paper. And there's Maria. Oh, she looks very young. That's the first time I saw her since 1956. There's Maria in all her glory. It was a very sunny day, and she wore light.
That looks like Aunt Mary.
That is Maria.
That was, wow. there's some-
Maria.
some-
Yeah, I'm glad I have, let's see, which one do I hear? This one. Yeah, that's, there, oh my word, I still look young there, but my hair is receding, and that's Maria.
Yeah,
Maria, she was still, at this time, I believe, Sibyl. I don't know if she had married Greff yet. Yeah. And there's my Rambler. We're getting into the car. This must be
it says near Bear Mountain.
Bear Mountain. Bear Mountain is a few miles up the Hudson River. It's on the left, it's on the west side of the Hudson. And the car looks nice. Gail is carrying, I believe, Philip.
Cabin in Wyndham.
Ah, this is the cabin in Wyndham. Today, if you go up there to see it, it looks a little bit run down, but this it seems to be in good shape. That must be where the small boys were when I was up in camp there. That's the road. The road is completely different today. The year is
64.
1964. That's the main house, and where the cafeteria was, the candy store, and upstairs where the staff members lived. Today, this is a two-lane, well, much better paved road. That's the barn. Gee, there were quite a few cars there. I believe that's Gail going back toward the car. That barn today no longer exists. It collapsed a couple of years ago when they had the storm that hit the East Coast. Dr. Pfeiffer at Moody, he was a philosophy teacher. He was a specialist in Egyptology. And he was a good friend and a good teacher, and Dr. Pfeiffer, Gail will certainly remember him. I don't know where this
It's
is.
WWEC HQ.
Okay, we're going back in time now. This is back in 1956. This is in Pennsylvania. I don't know what city. Is it Reading? No, not Reading.
Fort Washington.
Fort Washington. Yeah. This is in 1956. So this film is out of context from the other ones. It goes back more than a decade. This is Wyndham over here in the foreground. Well, looking at the mountain up there. The swimming place was at the bottom of the mountain. And yeah, that's a nice view. That's a close-up of the main house. We used to walk in there. This is going into the cafeteria. In Wyndham, New York. Another view. It's a very nice place. We used to walk. There used to be a trail that would go all the way to the.
Was that what it looked like when you were a kid?
Yes, it changed a little bit, but today it's much more different. We're back in
Art Villa.
Bart Villa. We're skipping from 67.
Remember, this is 64 through 67.
Yeah, but this is now 64, and let's see. Philip is at the very end being pulled in the wagon. Ethan Paul, and these were the kids of the other families that lived at Bart Villa. And of course, the leader, you know, Rochester, New York. I just took
It's
a
on the
picture
way back.
on the way back. In what year?
64 still.
64. Rochester area. This is looking up the hill. The building on your left was the dispensary, and the building up on the hill next to the swings, it was where the large girls, where Mary was when she was up at camp. My sister, and yeah, those swings are still there. And we're back in Bart Villa, and the parade is continuing. Ethan Paul doesn't look too interested, and Philip is secure in the wagon. Those are the children of in and around Bart Villa. Our place where we were to the right of the building there, but to the right part, it only shows half the building. Okay. There's Ethan Paul in the foreground. Where's Philip? I don't know if that's Philip or
Probably
not.
fell off the wagon
And-
went down the hill.
Yeah. Now, the big three.
This is in 66 now.
The year is 1966, and we must be in the Smoky Mountains. Ethan Paul, Philip, and Mary. They're sitting on a wild bear.
I like it how it's on wheels so they can wheel it around.
Yeah. Wow, 1967, right?
66.
66. And this must be in a petting,
Petting zoo.
like a petting zoo place.
It
Mary,
says Indianapolis Zoo.
Indianapolis Zoo. Now, I'm trying to think where this is, but I think I remember. This is now in Bloomington, and our house is somewhere here, and this fellow would ride around in his wagon, pulled by a horse, and he gave Ethan Paul and Philip a ride. I don't know who these other kids are. Oh, they're probably the next door neighbor. I believe, could this be the house, or is that the house that we lived in?
We'll see it later, I'm sure.
Back in Indianapolis, my three kids with their animals. Yeah. Oh wow, Ethan Paul and Philip. Philip is hanging on. Ethan Paul is climbing. He's being daring. Looks just like Paulo. Ethan Paul, do you look like Paulo when you were little? Well, there's the live.
Looks like he's got a chauffeur.
That's a live. Is that the one that moved around a little?
Yeah. Tortoise.
Ethan Paul is sitting on
They probably don't allow that anymore.
no, and I would wager anything that the tortoise is still alive. If they live, what, a couple hundred years?
Yeah, they live a long time.
This is in Bloomington. We went to the community pool. There's Gail with Mary and I don't see the other two boys. Oh, that's Philip.
That's your hat?
That's my hat. And that looks, in a way, looks like John too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's Ethan Paul snoozing away.
Mm-hmm.
And there I am. Let's see, what year was this?
66.
66.
Summer 66.
I was 33 years old. And you know something? I still have that outfit.
Mm.
I don't use it, but I still have it. Yes, I still have
What
it.
about the hat?
No, I don't think I have the hat, but I still have the shirt
That's too bad.
and the
I don't have
pants.
it.
Huh. And that's Mary. Mary with Gail's hat. I think all the kids like the water. There's Philip and Ethan, Paul, and Mary. I think the one on the left here, the bottom left, I think could be Ethan Paul, but I'm not sure. But there's Philip. And there's the little family. Oh, my word. Now, this picture I like to have. Oh, this is oh, yes. My brother would like to have this. There's George with his
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, my father, and holding Mary. Now, I believe the year is 1966. Am I
Yeah,
right?
Summer '66. Yeah.
Okay. They were on their way to California. My brother had gotten a position teaching at the Long Beach, University of California at Long Beach. And there's my father. And they were on their way. Can you imagine going to California in that vehicle? You get- And of course, they dropped by, from Hempstead, New York, all the way to Bloomington on the way west.
Mhm.
Gee, I'm older than my father now. Hmm? Oh, there's George, my father, and Mary.
Mhm.
I don't know what year this is.
Yeah, I think that's '60s.
Well, it says 64, so
So that looks like that one was probably
1964,
part of the one where you guys went to New York.
on our way to New York, to the World's Fair.
There's Stevie and Ethan Paul again.
Yes,
Looks like a-
didn't we have these pictures? Ethan Paul has
Yeah,
that.
so it looks like we've gone through all of them, so we're circling back. So I think we're all set with this chapter.